just explain us a bit more about yourself. When did you start with photography?
So about photography, I think I started at 17. So actually it's about 10 years ago. When I was 12 years old, I sold photo camera of my parents.
Okay, so that was the first step.
This was the first step. I thought it's a kind of useless Russian zenit.
Okay.
And I sold it, I got a lot of money for it. When I became old, I felt a kind of necessity to take, not really maybe to take pictures, but to create images.
What kind of picture at the beginning?
Well, actually, different stuff. Of course, everything around me. I took, one of my first pictures was the face of Einstein. I had a poster of him in my room, so I took a picture of him. And I went also to the streets of Moscow and I photographed homeless people. It was an interesting experience because I had also to talk to them, but they were pretty friendly. Sometimes they asked for money for it, but not everybody. I think I was attracted to windows and doors, and I still see them coming back in my photography a lot. So this question I get very often, and yeah, okay, so I have a double background because I started in Moscow. I studied mathematics and computer science, and then I also did a PhD in mathematics in the Netherlands. And of course, it does influence my work because I was just studying technical stuff for more than 10 years. And yeah, there are a lot of connections between photography and mathematics. For instance, first of all, photograph as a mathematical object. It's, in fact, it's a matrix. It's a table of numbers, like digital photograph, as probably everybody knows. And analog photograph can be represented also the same way if it's scanned. So this is one of the connections, but yeah, there are much more things to talk about. Like all my PhD thesis in mathematics, it actually was dealing with mathematics of images. And so I was really considering photographs as mathematical objects. But I was working with photographs of nanoparticles and photographs of atoms, not really the photographs that I take. But when I was done, I thought, how could it also be applied to the photos I take, the same methods? And then I went into this field that's called computational aesthetics. This is a direction of research when scientists try to compute the beauty of images, to represent the level of beauty with numbers. And this level can be estimated automatically from the image. So there are programs where you put, for example, 10 images inside, and then it gives you back evaluation. It says, okay, this gets 8, and this gets 2, and this gets 4. So I was a bit interested in it, and I also tried to apply my methodology to this field and wrote a small article about it. This is another way how photography can be connected to mathematics. Okay, let me show you one of my works. So this is, so basically this is my PhD thesis. It's published as a book, and what I did with it, I created another book out of it, where I combined mathematical methods that I developed with the photographs I took. And yeah, why did I do it? Because yeah, they have actually more books like this, like for example this one. So I just use my PhD thesis as a basis, and then I start writing some personal things in it, or put photographs inside. And why did I start doing it? Because I always felt that mathematics is considered to be a kind of very impersonal. Like when you do some mathematical research, it's something far-fetched from your everyday and personal life. Just to compare with photography, for instance, like I told windows and doors are coming very often in my work back. But why? Because yeah, I have connection with windows and doors from my childhood. I see all the time the same dream. That somebody is breaking into the door of my apartment, and then I had to run away and jump from the window. So these things that I take a picture of, they actually have to do with my personality. And then I thought, yeah, but how come that mathematics is so impersonal, that the methods that you develop don't have to do anything with your personality? Or maybe they do, and that's why I started this type of experimental study. Basically, I started looking what do my mathematical methods have to do with my personality, and I found a lot of connection. Like for instance, the topic of my PhD thesis is automated focusing and astigmatism correction. So it all goes about autofocus, and I think it's very much connected also to my photography, because in my photography I very often use on purpose unsharp images. And the goal of my mathematical work was to develop a method that would make unsharp images, that would search for sharp images actually. And it all leads to the whole question, what is sharp and what is unsharp. And for example, when I was 14 years old, I stopped seeing very well, so now I wear glasses, and of course my dad also wears glasses, so I could say it just goes from generation to generation, but also I think it has to do a lot with psychology and the fact that I'm afraid to look far away. So I can see close by, but I cannot see on the distance. And yeah, I'm afraid to look further. This is also a fact, not only in this room but also in my life. And maybe I even don't want to look further. That's why I think I cannot see very well. Like here, for example, on this page, it's called frequently used symbols, and it's normal for mathematical books that you put all the mathematical stuff you use, like an overview. And I just put next to it the frequently used symbols in my photography. Like, flowers, plants, windows, glasses, doors, mirrors, this type of things, naked body, eating. And I think it has to do a lot with each other. So I think actually mathematics is much more personal than we used to see it. And I do believe that when we look at it from this point, then it can also deliver much more than it's delivering now. It was really interesting thing. I got involved with a project. It was called Sensitive Surface, and the director of the project, Elina Kerpa, she's a theater director. She wanted to make a performance where she uses photographers instead of actors, and each photographer creates a small piece about his or her personal connection with photography. And yeah, I'm very happy and very thankful that she selected me for this project among others. I think there were totally 13 photographers selected. And yeah, we were just discussing what does photography mean for me and how do I see it. And then this thing came up, this idea with seeing life as a function. I had it already from I think first time I really started sketching these functions in my diaries when I was 17 years old. So I think approximately the same time when I started doing photography. And the idea is that so the life or the energy of a person, or I also call it karma, can be seen as a value. I often heard, especially when I traveled to India 7 years ago, I often heard something like, okay, Indian people never get angry because it's a minus for their karma. And then I thought, a minus for karma, then it means karma is a value, and you can add to it or subtract from it. And this value changes in time because every moment you think about something and you do something, and this influences your karma, obviously. So I thought it would be really interesting to reconstruct this function of karma, at least for myself, because of course for everybody it's his own function, but I do think that these functions of different people, they are connected somehow with each other. Probably this has to do with the zodiac stuff and my calendar. And I thought, but how can I reconstruct this function? Because of course I don't remember how did I feel, what was my energy level 1 year ago or 1 month ago. I have a kind of feeling about it, but I don't remember exactly. And then I thought photograph can be helpful, because the photo is taken in a short moment of time, and it can provide a door to this moment. So when I look at the picture, I just can I can kind of go back into this moment and feel it again, and then this moment can also get a value of karma. Of course, it's not very objective, because it will be more about my memories or my feelings about this moment, but still, comparing these moments between each other through the photographs, the function of karma can be reconstructed. I will show you, I took also a small picture with me. I don't know if you see it, but you see this is the timeline and this is the values of karma, and it's all the time going up and down like the sinus or cosine. It's like a periodic function, and that's how the life is going. This is just related to this expression that, you know, everything is repeating itself in the life. That's about the function which is going up and down all the time. And yeah, so the project that we did in 2010, it was really great, because my part was a performance which was given in the shape of lecture about this idea about mathematical function. And it's still kind of controversial, because some people who see it on my website, they're pretty much sure that this is a kind of lecture. They don't really realize that this is actually a performance. And sometimes even people ask me if I am connected to some kind of religious group with this type of things, which is obviously not, which is not really like this, but this is funny how people can interpret it when they see it. So we made a series of performances in Amsterdam and in Alkmaar and in Heron, and then so the project was finished, and then afterwards I was a little bit thinking and developing this idea for myself. So I created 2 installations. I think one of them was this September in Utrecht. It was not just a static installation, but it consisted also of moving images. There was a film that was disassembled into a function of into emotional function. And also the karma, the sound of the film was also disassembled into different sound. So I'm still going on with this project and see how it can be reshaped. Yeah, it's also a good question, because I'm not sure if I really have. I think I do have a style, but it's still in development. My photography is changing a lot. The pictures that I was taking 10 years ago are very different from the pictures that I take now, and I'm not sure if they're improving, honestly speaking. I think it's just different, but I'm not sure if they're much better or something. You know, this is funny, because people say, yeah, when you start a photo academy of art academy and you go for photography, your pictures from the last year, they should be much better than from the first year, and I don't think so. I think maybe they get even worse, but you just learn to put your work into a particular context. So with my style, at least for what I'm doing now, I think I like raw photography a bit. I like a high contrast. I don't know, if I work with film, I like dirt on the scans, for instance. And as I told, there are some elements which come always back in my pictures, but I'm not sure if it's very much related to style. I like personal stories in photography. When I work with models, I often project myself on these models. So for instance, it was also funny with this. with this photo shoot, we did this project with Vice magazine, and it was taking pictures of a girl in electron microscopy lab. And it was for the fashion issue, so the clothes was photographed under electron microscope, which is also a part of my PhD work. And this girl, she's a very nice model, but the thing is, I saw her only once in my life on the day of the shoot. I even didn't select her. She was selected by and found by the stylist, by Lara. And the funny thing is, so I saw her only once on that day. The funny thing is that I also used the image, with her permission, I used it for the cover of my thesis. And half of the people who see this cover, they ask me, is it you? You know, not, but this is the way I often work. I project myself so much on the models that there is a big connection, I think. Not maybe with the face, but just an energetic layer. And it's also it comes back also in my other projects. So I guess this is a little bit about my style. I'm not sure if it's so much about style, but about my work. And the style, I think it's still in development, or it's changing a lot. At the moment, I go a lot beyond of photography boundaries, but I think a lot of photographers nowadays do it, because I think we live in such a time when a lot of disciplines are coming together. So I work a lot with video and with light installations at the moment. Like this installation that I told in the show in Utrecht with the function, it was also a light installation with the function and the video. I try to work, I work a lot on personal stories. A lot of them are my personal stories, but I think they are very general, so that other people can reflect on them. So it's not that I'm making work about myself, but I use myself as a medium, I think, to talk about some general things. So at least that's what I'm attempting to do. Why do I use myself? Because I think this is the closest thing I can do. Like, I think it's difficult to make a film, for example, a film about, I don't know, drug dealers, if you are not a drug dealer yourself, you know, because you come so much from outside. What I'm going to do in the future, so I'm very happy this year because I got accepted to the Rex Academy in Amsterdam, and I will start there in January 2013. And I'm really looking forward to it because I think this will help me to make a big step in my work and my development. I would like to go on with what I'm doing now, but go deeper, so it's a combination of personal stories. I still want to go on working with clothes and fashion photography, but not a standard classical fashion, but very non-standard, non-trivial approaches. Like I did before, I can show just quickly, like this shoot with electron microscope, and also the shoot with the webcams I did in London. So here we photographed people falling on the street on Abbey Road with the webcams, with the camera cams of the street view on the internet, and also combined them with the photography, with the normal photography, and it was also, in different clothes. And of course it's a bit strange because all my friends from the art world, they say, yeah, why do you need all these clothes here? And sometimes they also say to me that my work is too fashionable, but my friends from the fashion world, they say what you are doing is not fashion at all. So this is a bit, it's a bit weird, but I would like to go on with it and find my way. And like this photo shoot, it's with the images that have been destroyed during printing, and it's also a personal project. I think there are three components. It's like personal story, it's work with clothes, and it is technology. Mathematics or programming, I still involve sometimes some programming, especially with the light installations. And yeah, we will see what will pop up.